G'day, Phil. Mark here, mate. I just thought I'd wear this hat to start off, just to remind you of the Outback Air Race.
Good
How
morning,
are you?
Weston. Good. How are
How are
you?
you? Mate,
Well,
I'm
thanks.
fantastic, and I've been looking forward to catching up with you today. And I know we've got a crowd of people who it's like your fan club joining in live, and they're already. I can see the numbers bloody multiplying as we speak. So hello to the Classic Safari Company. I think the whole team are watching. So morning to Julie and everyone else who's watching as well. Now, Phil, it's not about them today. It's all about you. So, mate, you're a man from Cootamundra. You want to give us just a bit of a quick background?
Yeah,
You were the Holden guy, the Toyota guy, the agricultural guy. You got your finger in plenty of pies there.
yeah. We've tried a few different things over the years, and born and bred, little place called Wallinsbean, which is between Cootamundra and Young. So I've actually managed to move about 30 kilometres in 55 years, I think. So haven't gone very far, but yeah. So born and bred in Cootamundra and raised on a family farm out near Wallinsbean, and my
Yep.
parents still live out there. So yeah, so it's a nice area, and yeah, this time of year is beautiful. Of course, with the canola flowering and the crops are looking good, and we've had plenty of rain. So yeah, it's all looking good this year, and the farmers are having a good time at the moment as well, which is great. So yeah, so
That's good because you've got an agricultural business as well, haven't you? So
yeah, we sell Kubota. In New South Wales, we sell only sell small Kubotas at this stage, but I've got a share in a business in Tasmania, which that we've basically got 4 branches and about 60 staff, and a business called Tasmac. So
yep.
We're Kubota and AgCo are the 2 primary franchises, but yeah, so Tasmania's good. I haven't been down there since February, so because of all the lockdowns, but yeah, so grew up in agriculture, got into aviation in probably about 1990, and it's always been a passion. And then we got into the car dealerships in about 2005. So we've tried a few different things. Did a lot of contract harvesting, trucks. Sort of, there's not
Yep.
much we haven't done really over the years.
Good on. You even tried a Holden dealership.
Yeah, that was a bad move, but we took over Holden in Cootamundra in 2009, I think it was, and it had
Yep.
been in one family since 1936. It was one of the oldest country New South Wales Holden dealerships in Australia. So, but yeah, and then we obviously we saw a bit of a decline in Holden over the last few years, and obviously with the announcement in January, February that they were pulling out of Australia was not good, but it was, I wasn't totally surprised either, to put it that way.
Yeah.
So we've sold off all our Holden stock, and I think we've got one new car left, the Trailblazer, if anyone's looking for one, and that's about
Never
it.
miss an opportunity, Phil.
That's about it for Holden, unfortunately, but we've still got Toyota. And so we're just Toyota only now here in Cootamundra. So yeah. So
mate, I've had the honour of having my car serviced at your Holden dealership. So
you did.
It was a good dealership.
Wasn't it?
About a year ago, yeah, that's right. So it was great dropping in and seeing you and staying there. So mate, that was good. Now you do both fixed wing and rotary, so you fly everything. But mate, let's talk about when we first met. We met on the Outback Air Race when I was captaining Westie's Wizards, and you've got a team called the Race Villains, I think. Is that right?
That's it, the Race Villains, and yeah, we've got a little RV7, little blue Vans RV7, which is a kit plane. It's like a little rocket. It's a very capable little aircraft and ideal for that job. So yeah, and I've had a couple of different co-pilots. A girl called Jane Crichton, a friend of ours, came with me the first time around in 2015, and we managed to come second overall. And I think there was about 25 aeroplanes that year. And then last time around 2018, the local local doctor, Dr. Jacques Scones, came with me.
That's right.
And he was my co-pilot. And we actually didn't manage to go any better than second, but we still managed to come second, which was a pretty big achievement because I think there was about 38 aeroplanes in the last one. So it's a pretty challenging event, as you would know. It's not about speed; it's all about raising money for the Flying Doctors. But it's the actual race is it's all about accuracy and timing. You've got to be accurate over the points, and you've got to get your time down to to be anywhere in the top 10. You've got to be within a few seconds, basically. So it's pretty challenging, and we normally do our flight plan over breakfast the next morning, where we're after a few beers and a big night the night before. So we put a lot of effort into
it. I reckon you're due for a win, Phil. I reckon this next year when we do the Outback Air Race, I see victory coming your way. You'll be carrying that hollow leg around every leg.
Don't know these the guys from Coffs Harbour. They're very competitive, and they did a bit of practicing before the race, which shouldn't be allowed, really.
No,
so,
I think they should be given a very, very big handicap.
Should be penalised for that. So they got the jump on us, and they changed a couple of rules too since the previous air race, which I missed the first brief, so I wasn't aware of the rule changes with altitude, so we got penalised a bit there on the first leg, which cost me a few points as well. So anyway, it's good fun, and it's raising money for the Flying Doctors, and all the money goes to fit out their new aircraft, as you would know. So I think it raised about $1 million each of the last two air races. So it's
been close to $1 million, certainly. Yeah, so it's been fantastic, and
good fun. Real credit. You meet a lot of good people, and that's where I met Julie and you, of course, and Herbie, and so you get a lot of good connections and life friends out of it as well.
And Crowe.
Oh, Crowe, yeah.
You might have known him, the air traffic controller from Moree. That's right. Andrew and Jody Crowe. They're lovely people from up there at Moree, and hoping they'll naturally be on the trip again next year. But mate, I've got there's a number of people more than we've ever had before live watching this today, Phil. I don't feel any pressure whatsoever. We're getting comments on the couple of hellos and so on. But let's talk about the Classic Safari Company and the what you're doing now in regard to aviation in Australia. And I guess we'll just go back a step. First of all, I'm going to say I would have had 2 scones to show you today, but I got hungry while I was waiting for you this morning, so I ate one. You got yours as well. Good. Yeah. So we're both having our tea and scones. So
freshly made by my wife Lisa. Freshly made by Lisa late last night, and so I've got 2 left, but I've already had a couple as well. So when you've just mentioned the Classic Safari Company with Julie and Sarah and all the team, we actually had them down last week in Cootamundra, and I think I'm only just getting back to normal after that night. But anyway, we got them down here and we showed them the aircraft, and I think it was good for them to just get out of Sydney for a while as well, because they've been holed up in Sydney with the COVID, for months. So but I think it's going to be a good partnership. It's they're obviously normally all outbound travel out to all overseas, South Africa, South America, and India, and as soon as I sort of started launching our little business, Julie got on to me and said, "Look, we need to talk." So, and I think it's going to be good for both of their businesses.
Yeah, look, absolutely. So let's just go back a step. I mean, everyone, obviously, international travel this year has just ground to an absolute halt. And I think I mentioned one other time that there was a guy at the Southport Flying Club, and he just picked up a new Cirrus, brand new SR22, and his parents were watching him as he was taking off to go on a nav exercise up to Hamilton Island or something, and I said, "Oh, what does your son do?" And they said, "Oh, he sells sea-doos here on the Gold Coast." And he said the sales have just gone absolutely through the roof because no one can travel overseas. They're all going out and buying jet skis and boats and all that sort of stuff, so they can do, their holidays will all be local. And what's happened in the travel industry is all the travel agents obviously have got, all they're doing is refunding everybody who booked travel for for this year. And I just love your entrepreneurial flair, Phil. So you've gone out and organised a Cessna Caravan, and you're creating trips around Australia so people can experience more of what we see on the Outback Air Race and so on, and the wonderful sights and adventures you can have by flying around Australia. And I think the first one you've put together is am I right, a pub crawl around rural areas? Is that?
Yeah, the great Aussie pub crawl, and that was actually an idea of Julie's. We actually didn't set up our business through COVID. I've been planning this for about a year or probably 18 months and putting it together, and we were running a little bit behind schedule anyway. Well, I think we got our website live about 4 days before the lockdown, so pretty well got up and running and spent months planning all these tours, and had to basically cancel them all. But I think next year is going to be okay, and a partnership with Classic Safari is going to really help, and they've got some great clients, and we've met all their staff now, so I think we're going to work really well together. And the pub crawl is getting a lot of interest. It's basically eight outback pubs and 5 overnights. So we actually get 5 overnights, but we visit 8 outback pubs and classic pubs at William Creek. We're even going out to the Pink Boathouse at Udnadatta. So
wow,
big road trip. Tilpa, Louth, Inaminka, RE, like the list is.
Wow.
So that trip will be great, and we're going to have a few of those on next year as well. There's a fair bit of demand, but we need the borders to be open, of course. So so that is a good fun trip. We're also got some trips planned up around the top end, right up through Kakadu and Darwin, and down through Broome and back through the centre. So we've got a bit of everything. We've got some 5-6 day trips up to 2 weeks. So hopefully there'll be something there for everyone. And but predominantly we're in the outback and visiting iconic outback Australian places, which a lot of people ringing us saying that they go overseas every year, but they've never done much of Australia. So I think it's a good opportunity for Australia to showcase what it's got to offer.
Look, absolutely, and I think the Queensland elections are coming up fairly soon. So with any luck, if there's a change of government up here in Queensland, we might open up the borders, so at least you can get up and take people to the Birdsville pub and places like that, because I think it's without getting political, it'd be nice to have some movement around the country again as well. I just want to just quickly, Phil, someone's asked this question here. Not sure who it is, but do you know the answer?
Canola normally flowers for about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the moisture in the soil. This year's been a longer flowering because we've had some great moisture. You'll probably find the canola crops have been in full flower for a couple of weeks now, and but you'll probably find they'll start to lose their flower within the next week or two. And usually once they finish flowering, they get cut into rows probably 3.5 to 4 weeks later, and then they get harvested about 10 days after that. So if you want to get out and see the flowering canola, you better be quick, because within a couple of weeks it'll be they'll probably all disappear. So yeah.
Okay. Look, now we'll come back to the partnership you've got with the Classic Safari Company, but I understand the whole crowd came out. Was it last week? Was it? And you took them for a fly around, showed them the plane and some of the areas that the customers will be flying over on the tours. Is that right?
That's correct. And yes, we took all their staff for a ride in the caravan, and we've got a grand caravan, which is a great touring machine, and we've actually got a couple of different interiors for it as well. So we can run a corporate interior or a commuter interior depending on how many people we've got. So great machine for the job. Big windows, high wing, good short field aeroplane, so we can land at a lot of these strips that a lot of these places have got airstrips that might not, you're not going to get a bigger twin turbo prop into. So caravan is a great touring machine. So we think it's going to go well, and the Classic Safari guys had a great time and got some great photos, and so it's all going well.
They'll be able to speak with great authority when the customers ring their phones off the hook later today to book you up for next year, Phil.
Yep, hopefully.
That's right. Hey, look, let's just we go back if we can to the Outback Air Race, because I just want to talk about the purpose and how much money has been raised, by the guys over the last few years. You and I'm not sure if you did. My first one was 2015, and Herbie's been the common denominator in all my Outback Air races. He was there then, 2018, and now the one again for next year. But that's certainly where we first met, and Andrew and Jody Crow certainly were real characters that we ran into and met on that trip as well. In fact, he was flying around by himself in a 206 and seemed to have all the room in the world for anyone who had excess luggage in their planes like we did, which was very handy. But I mean, it's great, isn't it? Also, from the opportunity for anyone who's thinking about joining the Outback Air Race, it's great from the point of view of being able to get out, do some great flying around this great country of ours, meet a whole lot of other people who are all aviation nuts, and certainly have a great time. The fellowship and so on when we catch up every evening is very good. And next year's trip, starting up in Darwin, going over Adele's Grove, then down through Queensland, Roma, Gundawindi, and finishing up at Coffs Harbour, I think it is. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So it's about 2,000 nautical miles from what I'm reading. Which is it's a good trip, and a lot of Queensland country this time, and the territory. So, and a bit of New South Wales. So yeah. So no, it's a great event, and you mentioned Jody and Crowie there a while ago. I think the first air race, Crowie was on his own, all except I think it was one leg from Ayers Rock to Alice Springs or somewhere like that. Jody flew in to Ayers Rock, and then she flew out of Alice. She did one trip with him, one leg, and that was her first time in the plane with him. She hadn't actually gained with him. So then the last air race, she probably did 2/3 of it, or 3/4 of it probably. So she just missed last leg, the first leg and the last leg, I think. So, but now Jody she's done the full circle. With the COVID this year, Crowie got an instructor down to Moree.
You're kidding?
And two of his daughters and Jody have all been learning to fly, and they've all gone solo. And and Maggie and I think Jody, I'm pretty sure they've all got their licenses, at least their RA license. So so the skies are getting scarier around the world, because
I'll be very careful.
So,
that's right, not just the black ones.
Yeah, Crowe thought it'd be a good idea because he can just sit in the back and relax and get Jody to fly him around on the air race. But I don't think that'll happen. But
I don't think that's. I think my understanding was last time the deal was that if Jody flew in the most of the race with Andrew, that he was going to take her on an overseas trip. I reckon he did pretty well out of that because now he can't take her overseas. So.
Yeah. So anyway, they're great family, and yeah. So but anyway, I've been up there a couple of times during planting this year because my son Ted was our son Ted was working for Jody and Andrew, driving a tractor at planting time. So so he's been I'm sure Ted was up there, so I went up a couple of times and visited. So yeah, but no, we keep in touch with Crowe a lot, and we're hoping that he's going to have a big harvest this year as well, and
lots of hops.
His season will go well. So yeah,
absolutely. And hi to Herbie, who's just checked in with us as well. So
morning, Herbie.
Morning, Herbie. Special call out for Herbie. Now, so there was certainly they were two of the characters that I met on the first trip and subsequent trips, and become good friends with those guys as well as yourself. But this year we're going back to a couple of places I think that others have been to before. But I mean they're all really great venues, aren't they? That we're going to next year, so well worth going to again. I want to ask you about Phil, about William Creek. That's one of your favourite spots, isn't it? Certainly when there's some water in the lake as well.
It is. But even when there's no water, it's still an amazing view, and it's a salt pan, and even when there's no water, and like Trevor Wright and the team out there do a fantastic job, and it's just a great place to visit. It's always a lot of fun, and it's really only the pub and the airstrip and that sort of thing. So, but they've got some accommodation there, and we're travelling. We're going to try and go through William Creek on a lot of our trips because I just think it's a great place, and it's on the start of the Unadata track as well. So you get a lot of caravanners and people driving up through there as well. So William Creek's a definite on our list.
So do you go out over the Painted Hills as well? Have you?
We haven't done that yet. That's only something fairly new. That's only something that Trevor's had going for a little while, and I think there are some restrictions on who can land there at the moment. I think it's you've really got to go with Trevor with rights there if you want to go to the Painted Hills. But yeah, so but no, the place has got a lot to offer.
Yeah, look, absolutely. So let's just talk about some of your favourite spots. So when you think back through the air races you've done, the travelling around Australia that you've done in the past, Phil, what are if someone was wanting to come on a trip with you, which would be the favourite places that you'd want to take them? When you think about it, apart from William Creek, Birdsville, and so on.
I think Birdsville, William Creek, Longreach. Longreach is a great spot. A lot of history there, and Winton as well. Most of our trips we stay 2 nights in Longreach. We go up to Winton on the second morning because you've got the Woodsy Matilda Museum, you've got the Age of Dinosaurs up there now, and so Winton's a great little spot, good little add-on to Longreach. But there's so many places you could go, as you would know. So, but we'll customise trips as well, and I know Julie's getting a lot of people who want custom sort of trips, and they might be getting half a dozen people together for a 50th birthday or something like that, and they want to go away for a few days. So we'll go wherever anyone wants. Our organised tours, we will have scheduled organised tours as well for people that if there's only a couple or 4 of them, they can join another group, and but those places in particular are really good. But then there's also some great spots up like Kakadu, lots to do in Kununurra. Broome is a great spot for relaxation for a couple of days.
Well, Cape Leveque especially.
Ayers Rock. There's just so much to see in Australia, and it's going to be good to see people out there, and having a look around.
I can tell you've got people walking up to your door wanting to come in and ask you questions the whole time we've been chatting. Is that about right, Phil?
Oh, I've had a couple of. The rest of the staff don't actually know what I'm up to, so they just think I'm sitting in here eating scones. So.
having a chat to someone on the phone. I'll tell you what. One of the places you should put on your list too, Phil. I don't know if you've been there. Is Kings Canyon. We went there on the way back from Cape Leveque, Broome. Last Outback Air Race, we dropped into Kings Canyon. It's pretty close to Ayers Rock. So if you're going to Ayers Rock, I mean, it's a nice little add-on. There's some great accommodation there, and very very scenic. And
did you land at the station or at Kings Canyon itself?
I believe the station. It was about half an hour away from
just to the south. Yeah. We haven't flown in there yet, but we've done it in camper trailers. We did a camping trip out there probably 7 or 8 years ago, and we stayed at the Rock, and we called into Kings Canyon on the way back through. So we have been there, but not by air at this stage. But it is another destination which I think has got a lot of potential, and it's definitely right through the McDonnell Ranges. There's definitely plenty to see out there as well. So no, it's definitely on the list, Westy, but we just haven't actually done that.
Yeah, look, the other places which I know they've had on the Outback Air Race, but I mean, I'm sure you'll have them on your list once South Australia opens up, is Arkaroola. Arkaroola and Wilpena Pound and so on. They're just spectacular. I'll never forget the first time I flew along the Flinders Ranges. We went to Wilpena Pound first, and I landed there with a flat tire, so that was pretty memorable. Landing, and all of a sudden the plane just wanted to veer off to the right of the runway, but it was all very safe. But so Wilpena Pound, but then flying from there up to Arkaroola, it's just phenomenal. The scenery, it's like the hills are like the back of an alligator, a crocodile, or whatever, and they're just so rugged, but they just sort of swerve around in perfect contours. And if anyone ever gets a chance and they're going on one of your trips, make sure you grab one which is going to go down over the Flinders Ranges in South Australia, and we actually found a great B&B down there, Anguston as well, Phil, for your which you can easily drop the caravan into. They've got great B&B there, and close to all the wineries and Penfolds and places like that. So I'll have to give you the details so you can whack that into your.
You will. The Flinders. There's lots of places in the Flinders, and one of our tours next year we've earmarked to go to Arkaroola. So we'll land at Balcanoona. There's a strip at Balcanoona, just south of Arkaroola. The actual Arkaroola strip's not quite long enough for caravan, but there's a strip about 15 k's away, and they'll come us up. So there's lots of places to see, Westy, and lots of adventures. So we're looking forward to it. And
mate, I know you've got to go. You've got a meeting in 1 minute, but Phil, I just want to say thank you very much for being on Tea and Scones today. Thank you to Lisa for cooking up the scones for you and jam. Very, very impressed. Which raises a really good question. I was somewhere the other day, and the question is: do you put the cream on first, or do you put the jam on first?
No, I put the.
It's the jam, isn't it?
I do the healthy. I do the healthy version. I actually have the butter. Heat the scones, have hot scones, then have the butter, then the jam, and then the cream.
Yeah, you're a legend, Phil. When I grow up, I want to be like you.
3 layers.
No, good on you, buddy. That's the way. Yeah. Anyway, mate, look.
Thanks for inviting me on, Westy. It's been a pleasure to have a yarn. And you're right, I do have another Zoom meeting that starts in about 20 seconds. But thanks for having me on. And we're all looking forward to getting out and about and borders opening and
Absolutely.
having some fun looking at our great country.
Absolutely, Phil. And look, I really, really admire the fact that you've put together this business. I hope you and Julie and the Classic Safari Company really kick some big goals in regard to helping people get out and see more of Australia, because it's as someone who's travelled like you, who's travelled overseas and travelled in Australia, I mean, these days, frankly, I'd rather spend my time travelling around our great country, and you're going to facilitate that, Phil. So good on you, buddy. Thanks again.
No worries. Thank you for having me on.
Back air raced. See you, mate.
Thanks for listening. Good on you, bye.